Unite for justice, unite for peace. That is the theme of this year's youth project, art project, sponsored by People to People International, Delaware chapter. And People to People International was established in 1956 by then President Dwight Eisenhower. And he established it as a response to the Holocaust, to get people to know and understand one another. So it is my delight to guide youth in this art project, and this afternoon we continue the 2-day art workshop at the Rose Hill Community Center, and it's hosted by the Boys and Girls Clubs of Delaware. And I want to thank my colleagues who are working on this project: Sharon Cooper, Marilyn Stavlas, and Mary Kate Benson from the Boys and Girls Clubs. And we had a great session yesterday afternoon. We brainstormed with the young people. We showed them slides. We talked about what happened last May. We talked about cultivating justice and peace, the importance of peace and justice. They did their sketch, and then this afternoon they're going to perfect that sketch into a masterpiece on canvas. And I can't wait to meet with them this afternoon to continue the project. We need to guide our children in promoting peace. Every child was born a peaceful child. No child was born a rioter. No child was born a murderer. No child was born a criminal. So let's examine society and get to the root of the cause of all the issues of crime and violence in our nation and the world. So it is by these projects, like People to People International, getting people to understand, to come to a common ground, to meet each other, to relate to one another, and to understand peace and justice. And most often we hear a call for unity, a call to end the violence, a call for peace. But very rarely do we hear a call for justice. And to me, justice and peace are the opposite sides of the coin. Without justice, there can be no peace. How difficult is that to understand? We saw it play out last summer when people were marching all over this country and the world in response to the killing of George Floyd. And at the time, they were saying no justice, as in N-O, no justice. But I took it further because I feel strongly that we need to get them to know justice, K-N-O-W. And that is why last year our theme was no justice, as in K-N-O-W, no peace, as in K-N-O-W. We took it a branch further this year, and the theme for this year is unite. Unite for justice and unite for peace. And that is what we are getting our young people to understand. And our young people are with it. They're very discerning. They understand it. They understand the issues. Too often, us adults, we don't get it. Calling for unity in a vacuum is kind of counterproductive. First, call for justice. Call for justice. Execute justice. Let there be justice and there will be peace. How difficult is that concept? Without justice, there will be no peace. And we have made progress from last year to the present. In my state, the state of Delaware, Yes, a legislation has been passed that law enforcement officers must wear body camera. Yeah, we are getting to the root of injustice. We are ensuring, and we want to applaud the law enforcement out there who are doing a phenomenal job, who are putting their lives on the line. However, we must not forget that there are within that the few bad eggs, the few bad apples who are abusing power. And we can't ignore it. So we want them to KNOW, justice. And then we can look towards peace. Without justice, there will be no peace. And we have, yes, let's applaud for the progress we have made from last year to the present in terms of where we are going and where we're coming from, given the atrocities that took place with the killing of George Floyd. I had to take that to give the wake-up call. But look, I put the burden on parents. And I repeat, no child was born a criminal, a murderer, and those law enforcement officers who abuse power, they were born innocent children. So we have a responsibility to get them to know justice and to know peace. And I created some beautiful visuals to inspire my class. I have visuals related, symbols related to justice, because most often they know the peace symbol, they know the dove, but very rarely do they know the gavel. Do they see a judge sitting there in the seat? Do they see the jury? So I created all of that in visuals yesterday, and I created a diverse body of 12 jurors. Yeah, because if we have a diverse jury, we are more likely to have good judgment. So then, I am just in awe to continue that project this afternoon and to meet the young people over at the Rose Hill Community Center and to guide them. Notice I say guide, because I don't teach creativity. You can't teach creativity. It is born, it is innate. Creativity is innate. If you're just joining me, thank you for joining and welcome. We're talking about justice and peace, and we're talking about People to People International, which was started in 1956 by President Dwight Eisenhower, whose goal was to get people to know and understand one another. And there are branches of People to People International all across the world. And here in the state of Delaware, for the past 6 years, I have had the joy of leading the art project with youth. And we started out by long rolls of canvas, 60 inches long, 20 inches wide. And we created some great murals that used to travel the globe. And my place, my gallery was the center for the exhibition. And a few years ago, prior to the pandemic, we had approximately 20 murals, global peace murals, from all over the world that were hung here in the gallery. And then in 2019, we invited the youth from Delaware who created their murals to come in and talk about, to give an expose. And did they do a phenomenal job? Yes, they did. They talked about peace. And each year we have a different theme. One people, one world. Last year, as I said, it was KNOW Justice, KNOW Peace. And this year, this is a symbol. And I designed this t-shirt. I designed it. And let me put the camera up close so you can get a better view of it. Yes, I created the design. I put the scale of justice And notice I put a balance scale. I put a peace symbol. The justice symbol is resting on the peace symbol. Their hands in red, yellow, black, and white, and brown. That's where the unity comes into play. Unite for justice, unite for peace. Because we can't unite for peace without justice. We are getting it upside down. And the platitudes and the calls to unite don't get into the nitty-gritty of it, which says that we need justice in order to achieve peace. And until we get it, we're not going to reach our goal. If our goal is to achieve peace, world peace, then we must begin with justice, fairness, start in the home. When children are having their little squabbles and treating their siblings unfairly, point it out to them. Get images. A picture is worth 1,000 words. How many children are growing up without... Yesterday when I introduced my symbols of justice, many of the youth in the group did not recognize them. I had a law book. I had the gavel. I had a judge sitting in his chamber. I had a diverse body of 12 making up that jury. And when I asked them to create their sketches, which they're going to finish today, of the group, a group of 12 or so, maybe only 2 children put a symbol of justice. And today, when I do the class, I am going to do a recap. And I don't normally say, do it this way, do it that way. But I'm going to make sure that every image and that every piece of art has a symbol of justice in it. I sure will. They must walk away with a piece of art which shows the relationship between peace and justice, that they're not inseparable, they're not in 2 chambers, that they should always exist together. Justice and peace. Justice promotes peace and vice versa. Without justice, there will be no peace. And that's where the chants came in last year. And what they were saying then, and they were right, is that there is N-O justice. And if there's N-O justice, there's going to be N-O peace. And you notice what happened in April when that decision was made in terms of George Floyd. We are thankful we did not have any outbursts across our nation. People accepted that verdict. That's justice. They saw justice. So where there is justice, there will be peace. A peaceful city begins with me. And that's the way I'm going to conclude. And that's the way we have to get our young people to understand. It's an individual thing. Every one of us is responsible for peace. It's not just a law enforcement. So I created this banner. It goes all the way back to 2001 when that little boy, 5-year-old Damon Gist, was murdered in a barbershop. And I worked with a group of 40 children, and we created a banner, and I came up with the slogan, "A peaceful city begins with me." And when I have my classes, I charge each child or each adult to be peaceful or to embrace peace. A peaceful city begins with me. A peaceful world begins with me. I even gave the children a formula. And the formula is like this. A peaceful home plus a peaceful school, plus a peaceful city or community, plus a peaceful nation equals a peaceful world. And it all begins with you and me. How simple can we make it? And we need to surround our children with images that speak to what we're talking about, peace. They must see these symbols. They must learn about the scale of justice a balanced scale, that justice for all. It's in the Constitution. They learn the Constitution in a vacuum, just the words. But in terms of reality and the meaning, do we teach that? Do we explain to them what justice, liberty and justice for all means? Okay, and then my favorite, my folk hero, the one and only internationally acclaimed reggae superstar, Bob Marley. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. And here I represent all ethnicities, red, yellow, black, white, brown. They're all there. And this piece here speaks to vision, a vision of racial harmony. And that's a light bulb, which, again, surrounded by children. It begins with the children. So let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. I am getting ready now to leave to go to the Rose Hill Community Center here in Wilmington to continue the 2-day workshop that is sponsored by People to People International Delaware Chapter. It is an annual art project. And the children are, rather than working on murals in a group, they are doing individual. Because of COVID, last year we started to do individual. So my ride is here. So I'm getting ready to go. I'll see you when I get to the center.